was out there repairing something, they entered right into the GIS the date that they were there, what they did, what they fixed, and that went right into the GIS system.
Define what the GIS is.
It's a geographic information system. So it's a technological system. So you can track all kinds of information in the GIS. And so they had, within that GIS system, they had their plans on what they repaired, when they repaired it, and they could look back at any time and see what was done and plan for the future on what needed to be done. So they would know that they cleaned out that culvert in let's say they do it every 3 years. So they cleaned it out in 2025. They know that in 2028 they have to go back and clean that again. That's a small example, but they did that for major projects as well. So there are times when technology might be expensive, but in the long run it can save you a lot of money. And that's something that we could look into. In the meantime, we could do something on paper. Have some kind of maintenance plan on paper.
I think that our town has to be more diligent about addressing things before they get that bad.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I agree. It's ideal to have a maintenance plan and the funds in capital reserves to follow through on those plans.
Well, I know this year they did the town clerk's office, they painted that. I don't know what the priorities are. I hear, what did they work on outside? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm hearing that the fire department building needs what? Maybe a roof, or it needs some major work. Is that right? And then I'm hearing that the heat system in this building or the back side of this building, there's some problem here. Is that right?
The furnaces.
Okay, so the way I see it, and I don't know how it's set up right now, but these things have to be prioritized by whoever is designated as having the responsibility. If it's the select board, it needs to be prioritized, and then in going to the budget committee, they always budget over of so much, for exactly these types of things. Oops. But yeah, yes, I agree with that. I think it has to be prioritized, and you can't just live year to year. I think as a homeowner, no one really lives that way, and I don't think as a homeowner, I've never thought, well, I'll go run and get a loan if something goes wrong. I'd always have had to try to have some type of safe amount of money, for the unexpected. So I think you have to kind of run the town sort of like you run your own house.
I totally agree with what Tom's saying too, but a lot of our buildings are old. They are old insulation, old windows, and the maintenance, the upkeep is going to be an ongoing thing. If it's budgeted, and maybe if the committee formed that can actually address those issues at hand, then bring forth to this Board of Selectmen, talk about it, and touch base on the ones that are most priority to fix at that time. I think that, setting that money aside is perfect to do, but you got to bring it up to the board to say what is needed first.
My name is Carol Asher. I live on Cass Mill Road. I am also a member of the school board. And for this last question I'm asking, the school board, we put together our budget and we put in $10,000 for the school side, hoping that the town would put in $10,000 so that we would have enough money to have an all-facility assessment. It stayed in the school side, and somehow it got neglected on the town side. And it really is important, and I hope that will not happen again. But my real question, it's pretty obvious tonight because Lexi is sitting there with no question. And because, and part of it is we are town, we have two sides, and all the questions get to the select board. And we have, the school has a budget, the town has a budget, and it seems like never the twain shall meet except on the budget committee, which I thank you for your work. But we're in this together, and there is somewhere in the annals, there's an intergovernmental agreement. Because this building, the town owns this building, and the school uses it, utilizes it, and does all the work to keep it up. The school district owns the other buildings, and repairs and things get done piecemeal. And I'm hoping in the future that this intergovernmental agreement will not be dropped, that we will work together. You've talked about all the different departments that need to communicate. There's a department over there that isn't even part of hardly tonight's questioning. And we've got to do better. We really do have to do better. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have a question?
Don't have any response to that?
Would you address it to, you didn't address it to anybody, Karen, who are you speaking to?
I agree with you. How's that? You know, if we were all going out to dinner, right, we'd all have to pay an equal portion of the check. We couldn't sit there and say, well, I don't like him, so I'm not going to pay, or, you know, whatever. He did this out in front of my house, and so I'm not going to put up my money for the bill or whatever. It's like, yes, you're absolutely right. Like, we're on the same ship, no question about it.
Or not?
We are. At the base of it all, yes, we are all paying for it. Well, ideally, let's say, okay? Even if it's the Titanic, we're on the same ship, right? But, yeah, I agree.
No, I did all that.
May I add something small to that, please?
Yep, go right ahead.
Just as a little thought on that there, just bits and pieces right there. Let's talk this building right here, and I'm talking this section right here. This building burnt down. A lot of people don't know that. This building, this section here, burnt down in December of 1969, right there. Things got updated and had to get there. The town had to find the money to build it back up right there. And that also helped the fire department too, because Ed Amson was looking to try to get the fire trucks updated, and everybody was ho-hum on it like that there. And wouldn't you know it, you have to have a building burned down to get the new fire truck right there. And then on top of that, I've learned, talking to different people, the exact dates I don't know, but the heating system that's being used right now was for this original section right there. Well, the new section for the school part, that part there, was put on, but it's still using the same heating system. And this heating system wasn't designed to heat everything right there, so it's been working overtime. And from what I understand, it was about 35 years ago that was put in. So for one, it's getting past its age to run there, and number two, it's not built enough for run what you see happening now.
My feeling on your statement, not being a selectman, I have a hard time answering that because I don't really have an answer for you. I do agree that the school is a necessary evil as far as a lot of people see it. And a lot of people don't want to spend the money, but if they don't, they're gonna be paying the price in the long run when it comes to a building that's sitting here that's dilapidated and falling apart, and the kids are running rampant and going to another school, and then we'll have nothing.
Okay, Frank? Frank, I think you said opposed?
Thank you, Tom. I was going to ask the select person candidates what plans or what ideas they might have, other than perhaps changing the hours of this police chief when we hire him, to address the spate, recent spate, at least at the north end of town where I live, of robberies and burglaries. And it's... I'm sorry? I don't know what causes it. I just know that if there's law breaking going on, it should be addressed. And we could help by cooperating with the state police if they come around. But I personally feel at a loss that I moved into a small town, a nice rural small town, and I don't feel secure in my home. That's not a good thing. The other thing, and I would like to ask this, is it Mrs. Moser? Moses, sorry. I know that you said 11 years ago you built your business down in Franklin. Why Franklin? Why didn't you build it in Hill? Did you run into obstacles here? Is there a reason that?
No. Actually, my husband and I actually looked at the old Hill Design building, and we were thinking about buying that property. It was vacant at the time. The house was there, but the location just wasn't opened enough for what we were looking for. The building that was there needed a lot of work. We left Benson Auto because I was spending over $2,500 a month in heat. So my profits were going right out the window. So we outgrew that building, and that's why we decided it would be cheaper for us to erect a new building. I would have been in the same situation in that particular property. There really wasn't anything large enough geographically that Mike and I were actually interested in doing here in this town. So that answers your question.
I was hoping we could use it as an object lesson as to why we don't have more commercial development in this town. We should.
We should, and I totally agree with you, but there's so many large parcels in this town that doesn't allow that commercial entity. If we were to redesign some of the business district, maybe that could be possible, but there's so much of it in conservation that I don't see that you're going to find that industry